determined. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A federal judge in Washington, D.C. has blocked efforts by President Trump to lay off 2,200 U.S. aid staffers from posts overseas. The agency provides billions in aid and medical assistance. This is ABC News.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM. For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. When the NFL draft comes to Green Bay in April, it will be the area's chance to show off what makes it a great place to live and work. Online websites and blogs such as BuzzFeed provide anecdotal evidence that people may want to live to a city that they visited as tourists, a theory that Nick Meisner, the vice president of digital marketing for Discover Green Bay, subscribes to.
How many of those visitors are the teachers or the nurses or the doctors or the construction worker or those key jobs that we need for the infrastructure of our community? Those visitors could be that next crop of employees for that.
Meisner made his comments on a recent episode of Lean Local with Jim Schmidt, airing Sundays on WGBW. Discover Green Bay has put together a sweepstakes that will give one lucky winner and up to 3 of their guests the 2025 Draft Ultimate Fan Experience. It includes 2 nights at Oneida Casino Hotel, hospitality passes, airfare, and a $500 Visa gift card. Sign up at greenbay.com or search Draft 25 Sweepstakes. The Village of North Fond du Lac has applied for funding through the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program with the Wisconsin DNR to improve its public drinking water system. The project includes the construction of well number 5. The Safe Drinking Water Loan Program has determined that the project will not result in significant adverse environmental effects, and no further environmental review or analysis is needed before proceeding with funding the project. The public can submit comments on this decision to the DNR by February 20th. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Bucks take on the Hawks. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks are back in action tonight on the road against the Hawks. Milwaukee able to snap a 4-game losing streak with a win in Charlotte Wednesday, even though Giannis Antetokounmpo was out with a sore calf muscle. Head coach Doc Rivers.
Yeah, just, we needed a win. I don't think anybody was that concerned by it, but no one likes losing. I can tell you that. And so getting a win, going to Atlanta, hopefully having Giannis back, and let's see what we have from there.
The Bucks confirmed that their mega trade sending Chris Middleton to the last-place Wizards has been approved by the NBA, the team adding Kyle Kuzma from Washington and center Jericho Sims from the Knicks. Marjon Beauchamp was sent to the Clippers in exchange for guard Kevin Porter Jr. In college hoops, Wisconsin takes on Iowa at the Carver Hawkway Arena in Iowa City tomorrow, game time at 12 noon. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Winter weather advisory for 4 to 7 inches of snow starting late tonight and continuing on into Saturday afternoon. Low tonight in the upper teens. High tomorrow, mid-20s. Sunday is looking mostly sunny. Highs only 15 to 20. Currently 21 degrees.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
There are solutions to the rot in the Supreme Court, and it's a congressional binding code of ethics. There are solutions to the corruption. It's a constitutional amendment to declare that money isn't speech and corporations aren't people, and we can do this. These are things that Americans agree on no matter our party. We all know that presidents aren't kings.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Max Inc. has a super show this weekend. Join us as we welcome the flavor that kills, Rob Dees and the Steepwater Band. Plus, we'll talk weather with Rippiology. Saturday and Sunday evening.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who considers a silver medal a participation award, Pete Schwaba.
I would love a silver medal. If I was even capable of receiving a medal. I am not Pete Schwaba. I am Aaron Carreno filling in for Pete, who is just battling everything, I feel like, over these last couple of days. So we have a live show tonight. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the weekend. We have worked really hard, and now we have slammed our laptops shut until Monday, right? Anyway, we got a big show tonight. Producer Conrad, live from the City Deck Studios up in Green Bay. How are you, my friend?
I am great. It's not as cold as it was a couple days ago, so that makes me a little happier.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that weather because I was doing a little tour because I work, this is a little different for me, right? I'm not used to hosting a show. I'm not used to really doing a whole lot. I'm more of a music host. That's been my background. And so I was driving around working with our markets, which is what I do for Civic Media full time. And yesterday was some wild, wild weather. I mean, I had to really keep my hands on the wheel. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of those weather events and what to expect this weekend as we get through the rest of the night tonight. We've got a big show. We've got some great guests coming on. WRJN's Rich Lacasio will be joining us at 6:35. And then coming up a little bit later tonight, Scott Rippey, or otherwise known as Rippiology, the social media weather blogger influencer, will be joining us at about 7:05 tonight. So we're really looking forward to speaking with Scott and having a little fun, hopefully, with this upcoming weather that we're all anticipating. Not quite spring-like 24 to 48 hours here as we get through the rest of the weekend. And then later on, as we do on most Friday nights on this show, Terry Barr will be joining us for Bar Band Friday. We will talk more with Terry at 7:35. So we've got a lot to look forward to this evening. And, of course, the phone lines are open at 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. That's also available to text in through our free Civic Media app. If you don't have our app yet, download it in the Google Play or App Store and find whatever station you're listening from and send us a text message tonight. We'd love to hear from you as we head into this weekend. Conrad, let's get to the birthdays tonight.
Yeah, there's some great ones, aren't there?
There really are. And in one of these I want to talk about a little bit further because this guy, hopefully we're going to be seeing a little bit more from him in the next 2 weeks. Chris Rock turned 60 today. Chris Rock, 60 years. I mean, I have a hard time with that. I'm like, really? Chris Rock, 60 years old? Ashton Kutcher, 47 years old today. Dude, where's my car? Right, Con?
and as Wisconsinites know, that 70s show, just a great show based in Wisconsin at Point Place, I believe is what the show is. Yeah, so
it was a great show.
I absolutely loved Kelso in that. He's actually was my favorite character. Just anytime you needed a laugh, every episode, he was going to give you it.
They got some, in case you need a little bit of a reminder of the Ashton days or some of his movies, you got some clips for us that you might want to, send us down memory lane, Con. Go ahead.
Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Did I drive last night? Yeah, I think so. Really? I'm not sure. Dude, where's your car? Dude, it's not funny, dude. The car's gone. Yeah. Dude, where's my car? Shut up, dude. Okay. Dude, where's my car? Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Dude, there's your car. Oh.
It was behind the mail truck.
I was going to say, and you might be asking yourself that exact question. If you're parking in downtown Green Bay and you've been there too long, you won't have a ticket, you won't have a car.
Exactly.
The car will be gone.
Yes.
As we know, right? So we got a lot coming up here tonight. Also want to get to some a big release this week. And Pete didn't get to this because he's been off the last couple of nights. But I want to remind everybody that Ace Ventura: Pet Detective came out this week in 1994.
Yes, it is one of my all-time favorite movies. Every single moment in it makes me laugh, especially the Slinky when it goes down all those steps. I think there's like 500 steps, and he just follows it going down and sings the classic song "Everyone Loves a Slinky."
Jim Carrey, right?
Yes,
quite
Jim
quite
Carrey.
the character.
Yes.
Wow, that's 30 years ago. It's just hard to believe. I mean, between that and then Chris Rock and then Ashton Kutcher, really, really funny people, funny movies, funny shows. And Chris Rock, by the way, Con, is going to hopefully be in the SNL 50 special because they've announced the first round of guests for the 50th anniversary special. We didn't see Chris Rock's name in that. At least I didn't see it yet. But the Five Timers Club, Tom Hanks, Steve Martin, Scarlett Johansson, Paul Simon, and Martin Short. We are used to seeing them. Woody Harrelson among some of the first guests announced for the 3-hour primetime show, which will be airing February 16th on your local NBC affiliate. So I'm really looking forward to that. And there's going to be, I'm sure, a ton of other artists who will be making special appearances. And I can imagine they're probably going to have a lot of those original, like, segments, bits that we've come to love over the years. You know, Dana Carvey doing the church chat maybe once again. We'd love to see that. Looks like Paul McCartney and Peyton Manning will also be set to appear on the SNL 50 3-hour primetime event. So that'll be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that one. We have to get to, though, a big weekend. This is a big weekend.
It is. It is.
Right? I mean, and it's not just for... It's for everybody. Let's go to the question of the night, shall we? Let's do it.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda. Question.
Question.
Questions.
So Sunday is the big game, and that is our question of the night. Who do you want to win the big game? Is it going to be Kansas City or is it going to be Philadelphia? Now, if you're watching on the live stream right now, you'll see that I am wearing red, and it just so happens to also be Wear Red Day for Women's Heart Health, right? That's also today. It's Wear Red Day if you are a Kansas City fan, and having lived in Kansas City for about 1.5 years, I will tell you, Conrad, that I have a second favorite football team, and so I'm wearing my Kansas City shirt here on the live stream, and that's not a very popular team for people who are watching the big game coming up this weekend.
No, I just think, I don't mind it, but a lot of people are sick of them winning. But that's the same thing. You go back to Tom Brady. A lot of people were sick of him winning too. It just goes down to their legacy. They're great. They're in the Super Bowl. You just got to watch this game and just have fun watching it,
But would people, do you think, really want a new champion every single year? Because then that becomes kind of, it's always when they start to do really, really well that people then don't want them to win anymore, right? You just talked about Tom Brady. We were always cheering. Remember when they first went to the big game, Kansas City, and everybody was pulling for them because they were the underdog. They were the Midwestern team, right, that everybody was cheering for. And then all of a sudden, they get really good, and then people are like, yeah, I'm not into watching them anymore. I don't want them to win at all.
It goes... For me, I guess it's like, I don't care who wins the game. I'm just going to enjoy watching football. But it's like, I don't have my team in there, so that's who I want to win. That's,
I would love to have Green Bay in there. Don't get me wrong. I am a Green Bay fan, first and foremost. I'm a season ticket holder. I am a stock shareholder, I guess, whatever you call it, right? I own a piece of the team, or I own a piece of paper that tells me apparently I own a piece of the Packers or something like that. But I'm cheering for Kansas City, and I want to know if you are also cheering for Kansas City or you're cheering for Philadelphia in the big game. You can text us right now through the Civic Media app. Find your station, use that text button at the bottom of your screen, and of course, phone lines are open at 855-752-4842. So this is kind of interesting because we watch the big game every year. We watch it for either the football. Maybe we just use it as an excuse to get together with friends on a Sunday night to prolong the weekend. Maybe you're making a special dip, 7-layer dip, taco dip. Maybe you're making wings. You've got the crock pot ready to go already. But a lot of people watch it for the commercials still, right? I mean, that's a big part of this. $8 million is the average price for a commercial for the big game. And by the way, I guess the ad executives are saying that it's kind of a bang for your buck. Like, what? $8 million? That's a lot, right?
It's a lot of money, but imagine, I guess they're saying how many eyes you get on your commercial. Be like, especially for DoorDash, I know that they're going to make their money probably because people are going to be like, oh, yeah, DoorDash, we could order something from there for the game, after seeing a commercial. Or Uber Eats,
I always love the commercials when they have like the QR code up on the screen and then you're like compelled to get your phone and actually scan whatever it is. Remember that one year? Was that 2 years ago for like a crypto company? You had to grab your phone and then you had to scan the screen and the thing was moving around the screen. Do you remember that ad at all?
I don't remember that.
All right.
With the QR code, though, there is one that I remember from last year. I can't remember if it was DoorDash or a different company. But you would have followed the ad all the way to the end. And if you catched every single word and put it into the QR code, you get a prize or something like that.
I do remember.
Like impossible. Because
I do remember
that. Yeah.
And you're right. It was completely impossible. It was absolutely impossible. Also, Kendrick Lamar is performing at the big game on Sunday, and I'm really looking forward to that halftime show. He's incredibly talented and had a big Grammys weekend last weekend. So commercials, the game, the camaraderie, everything to look forward to. And again, our question of the night, are you cheering for Kansas City? Or are you cheering for Philadelphia? You can text in right now through the Civic Media app. And we're going to also talk food and an experience I had yesterday that just blew my mind. And I want everybody to have the same experience. We'll get to that next. It's Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Maggie Dawn Show.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Every story matters, and the Civic Media Radio Network is celebrating Black History Month by honoring the powerful stories of Wisconsin's own trailblazers. Meet Venus Robertson. The Green Bay woman shares why Black History Month is special for her.
You need to be proud of your history. For me, it just means a bunch of possibilities. Looking at the road that was laid before me, opportunities that were put out for me, things people went through to make sure that I have a chance.
Her story includes dressing up as a different person every day. It's a way to teach kids at the Boys and Girls Club about the richness of Black culture.
Tradition here, but Black History Month, Miss Venus is going to dress up every single day. I really want them to see, like, you can be anything you want to be. That is my heart. I want to be a role model for the kids here.
Venus is sharing history while shaping.
Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network. I am Aaron Carreno filling in for Pete tonight, who just needs to kick his feet up and relax for a couple of days. Phone lines are open at 855-752-4842. You can also text us through the Civic Media app, the free app, from wherever you are right now, from the comfort of your home. Hopefully not texting and driving. We want to make sure you got, no distractions as you're driving around. The question of the night tonight, are you cheering for Philadelphia or are you cheering for Kansas City to win the big game on Sunday? That's really mixed. I don't even think it's mixed. I actually think it's one-sided. It feels like everybody is cheering for Philadelphia. And maybe that's just me, but it feels like nobody wants to see a three-peat. And I'm like, let's just rewrite history. Let's make this a thing. Let's just get 3, and then we can call it quits maybe for a little bit, because then Green Bay has to come in and take that spot eventually next year, right? Lots to talk about with the big game. We got to that. I wanted to get to some, I like talking about food. I think I always did for some reason. Talking about the big game this weekend. Maybe you're making some food. Maybe you got something in the crock pot. I had an experience yesterday. I went up with my dad my dad and I went up to Upper Michigan. And on our way back from a father-son kind of night, we passed through Menominee, Michigan. I'm thinking of Pete Schwaba right here in particular because this is his area. There is a specific drive-through spot in Menominee, Michigan that I've driven by it a million times up until yesterday. I finally decided to stop in and try what is famous to the UP, Conrad. You know where I'm going with this?
I
do. Have you had a pasty before?
Oh yeah, they're so good.
John Mino from the WGBW morning show in Green Bay would have a lot to say about this right now. John, if you're listening, they're still good. I know he's from the UP. That was a mind-blowing experience. So they have all these different options. It's kind of like, how would you describe it? It's like a meat pie, right?
Because sometimes you go somewhere else, they're not called that. They're called just a meat pie. And that's exactly what it is.
What kind of pasty do you like? What's your preferred pasty?
Well,
Producer Conrad's preferred pasty.
I like a little bit of cheese and just some meat in there. It's really, that's all that's needed.
Simple guy, right? That's all. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need what I had. She said, "Do you want sausage? Do you want ham, or do you want the Western?" I had to go Western. You got to have hash browns in it. You got to have everything in it. That thing was amazing. Now, it was a little hard to eat and drive yesterday because of that wild wind situation happening all over. I mean, not just Northeast Wisconsin, but it was really everywhere. And I'm driving, and I said, well, I'll just wait until we stop at the gas station. I'll finish my pasty then. It'll still be warm. And meanwhile, 10 minutes went by, and I'm looking at my dad who's in the passenger seat of the car. I had been so focused on the road with it being so windy. I look over to my right, and my dad is just mauling this pasty down. And it's all over his shirt. It's all over the car seat. Eggs are falling down onto the bottom of the floor mats. It's making a big old mess, but it was that good. I mean, it was devoured. I mean, I probably had mine in like 1 or 2 minutes. It was gone. And I will make that now a part of my trip every single time I go up through the Upper Peninsula. Every single time I will make sure to stop and have a homemade pasty. I'm going to do a big tour. I'm going to try multiple different places. If you have any recommendations, feel free to text them in on the Civic Media app. I'd love to hear from you.
I think that's the proper way to eat one of those because it's so good. You don't know how to stop when you start, you know?
I could have ordered probably 2. Well, then we had the chili because I was like, well, if I'm here and they're really good at making pasties, I'm going to try whatever else they had. So we got a big thing of chili. I had chili all over my seat, the chili on the steering wheel, chili on my pants. My shirt's red right now because I'm wearing Kansas City red. It's like chili all over my black pants. It was quite an experience, but it was it might require a vehicle detail over the weekend. That's all I'm saying about that. So let's get to what we have coming up. We've got some really big guests coming up. Rich Lacasio is coming up at 6:35, and he's going to be talking all about wrestling and his newly found situation as WRGN radio host, which I know he's really excited about that. We'll speak with Rich at 6:35, and then coming up at 7:05, my friend Scott Rippey, who is the weather blogger. He's a weather social media blogger influencer. He runs a page called Rippeyology, and this page is just hilarious. He has a very interesting take on weather using humor, some foul language, but he gets it right. And we've got a big weather event coming up tomorrow. If you've heard the weather reports on your local Civic Media radio station, depending on where you are in the state, we're going to experience several inches of snowfall. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Scott joins us at 7:05. And then a little bit later this evening, 7:35, it is Bar Band Friday with Terry Barr. So we'll be speaking with Terry and getting a preview for Max Inc. Radio right here on the Civic Media Radio Network that'll air tomorrow night starting at 6 o'clock. Conrad?
Yeah?
Are you making anything for the big game? You're making pasties for Sunday? You having friends? What are you doing for this game, man?
Actually, I'm working on Mino and the Mayor on Monday morning, so it's not going to be a crazy night because I want to go to sleep before that. So actually, I found this low-calorie McChicken that I can make, and I made it once, and it was really good. You use cornflakes, yellow mustard, and a bunch of seasonings, and you just mix that all together, throw that into a pan, and it tastes just like a McChicken.
You make McChickens from your apartment in Green Bay?
Yep.
All right.
It tastes just like the real thing, and it's only about like 160 calories.
Party at your house.
By myself.
McChickens and pasties from producer Conrad. That sounds like a blast. Keep those texts coming in, too, with our question of the night. Who you want to win the big game. I'd love to get your thoughts. Looks like we've got, let's see here. Don't mind if Casey wins. I like Mahomes. He seems like a nice young man. That's Monica from Mount Horeb. Thank you for listening on WMDX. Keep those texts coming in. We'll get to Rich Lacasio in minutes. Stay with us. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
From De Pere to Swamico, 97.9 WGBW. You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The yearly tradition starts tomorrow on the Winnebago system, and Wisconsin DNR biologists are expecting the harvest to be better this year than last. Of course, I'm talking about sturgeon spearing season. Last year, poor ice conditions made for a below-average harvest for the prehistoric bottom feeders. While water clarity isn't great this year, the ice conditions are much better, meaning the season is already off to a better start. Spearing starts at 7 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. each day. The season will run for 16 days or until the safe harvest caps are met, whichever comes first. The city of Oshkosh is recruiting candidates for fire chief following the resignation of Mike Stanley. The deadline for applications is Sunday, March 2nd. In the meantime, the Police and Fire Commission, which is a citizen board tasked with finding the new fire chief, is conducting a survey to find out what residents and city employees want in their chief. The commission hopes to have a new fire chief in place by June or July of this year. Healthcare costs in Wisconsin are among the highest in our country. Wisconsin employers are voicing their concerns about it. Melissa Kay reports.
Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce surveyed businesses in the state, and 88% of employers predict their healthcare costs will increase even more this year. Scott Manley is WMC's Executive Vice President of Government Relations. He stated, "These costs are not only a competitive disadvantage as they dip into employee compensation, investment opportunities, and more, but they also hurt Wisconsin families." When asked what state government could do to help businesses, 41% of respondents answered, make healthcare more affordable. Wisconsin's healthcare costs are among the 5th highest in the nation.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Conrad Krieger. Adam Scott is on a roll. The Severance star is returning to the film genre that gave him a start. Scott is signed on to the project to play a horror novelist who visits an Irish inn to disperse his parents' ashes, only to find out it's haunted. Hawcom will be directed by Irish director Damien McCarthy, who directed last year's critically acclaimed oddity. Scott got his start in the genre with a 1996 Hellraiser Bloodline. This film is still in pre-production. Adrian Brody says the makeup artist of The Brutalist tried to remove his prosthetic nose. The only problem is, it was not prosthetic. Apparently, Brody's real nose looked fake to the makeup artist. The Oscar-nominated actor told Jimmy Fallon he asked her if she was trying to remove that, and she said yes, and he said it doesn't come off. Brody says he and the makeup artist had a laugh after she said this is going in my diary, and Brody said that this is going in his talk show repertoire. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Winter weather advisory for 4 to 7 inches of snow starting late tonight and continuing on into Saturday afternoon. Low tonight in the upper teens. High tomorrow, mid-20s. Sunday is looking mostly sunny. Highs only 15 to 20. Right now it's 22.
Matt Nair on air.
Dan Schaefer, Civic Media's political editor.
No court in the country came closer to overturning the 2020 election results than the conservative majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And we have Brad Schimmel, who's been siding with January 6 rioters. So if you want your vote to count going forward, show up and vote on April 1st. Let's channel that energy into the Wisconsin Supreme Court race.
Matt Nair on air. Weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding a unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Rational Revolution with Mark Becker.
Join me this week as we talk to my friend and
Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network. I'm Aaron Carreno filling in for Pete, who's been off the last couple of days. We wish him well. We hope he gets better. Conrad, live from the City Deck in downtown Green Bay. I'm right here in Madison, where I'm watching everybody head about their nights tonight. That's nice. Friday night shows are always good, right? It's the weekend. We don't have to be stressed out. We can just relax. That's what it's all about. And that's why we love having you here on the show. 855-752-4842 is our phone number, 855-752-4842. Also been looking at some of your text messages coming in on the Civic Media app. You got some really good ones. We're talking about who you want to win the big game on Sunday. Are you cheering for KC? Are you going for Philly? Are you cheering for Taylor Swift? What is it? We have so many options. This may be the most jam-packed big game in the history of all the big games. This is my favorite text, though. Shout out to Tyler from Wisconsin Rapids. Maybe my favorite text all night so far. Says, well, I'm putting my money on the team with the Labrador puppies. I'm assuming you're referring to the Puppy Bowl, perhaps. All right, I'll take that. Thank you for those texts. Keep them coming in. Mark from Prairie du Sac referencing you can get a great pasty at a familiar restaurant right on the corner of State Street in the Capitol Square. I know exactly where you're talking about, Mark, and I've been there, and I may have to go back there this weekend now. You're giving me some inspiration. Keep those texts coming through. We'll read more of them as we go throughout the night tonight. Right now, I want to introduce my first guest. He is the WRJN on-air host and knows about everything, all things wrestling. Rich Lacasio, Civic Media's very own, joining the show tonight. Rich, good to see you.
Aaron, good to see you as well. How are you?
I'm good. I missed you when I was doing my traveling visits for the company a couple days ago. I saw that you weren't there, and I was like, where's
two
Rich?
ships passing where it's like, I just got over being sick. I actually sound a lot better than I did the other day when you were in Racine. So I just didn't want to spread it around the office. So I'm just, I'm being the responsible civic media employee here. So,
well, glad you're feeling better. I mean, I know Pete's under the weather. I was sick a little while ago. That wasn't fun.
It's been wreaking havoc all over the place.
It's terrible, right?
Yeah.
There's not enough vitamin C and puffs with lotion to possibly make you feel any better, right? That's my preferred one. Rich, you just started as a music on-air host in addition to your other responsibilities on our civic media station, WRJN. And I have a couple questions, but how is that going for you so far?
It's been going great. So I tell you what, I've got some great people that are mentoring me, Chris Morrow being first and foremost. It's been a lot of fun. My first introduction onto WRJN as an on-air personality was actually on my 40th birthday with Cindy Huber. So we did a 5-hour show. I picked a lot of the music. It was so much fun. And Chris liked it so much. He's like, hey, would you like more practice at this? And I'm like, yeah, I've been waiting for years for this opportunity. So I've been taking the ball and running with it.
Well, we're really glad to have you on the air. It's not as easy as people think when you get behind the microphone and you have to talk. My experience, Rich, in my career has only really been on the music side. When you get about 7 to 20 seconds to talk between famous people, that's about it. So when you're doing a talk show, it's a lot different. The first time I ever filled in on a talk show, I was living in Kansas City.
Okay.
And it was a 4-hour talk show. And after the first segment, I think I was 10 minutes in and we went into the commercial break, the co-host, who is part of the show, takes his headphones off and he looks at me and he says, Aaron, dude, I need you to talk. I'm like, I'm not used to that, right? Like, I'm not used to talking a whole lot. So anyway, I know how that is. And I'm glad that you're getting some repetitions. It's a lot of fun. And WRJN is a great heritage radio station that has served the Racine and Kenosha area, that part of southeastern Wisconsin, for how many years now? It's been 90?
98 years. December 6th of 2026 will be our 100th anniversary. So 98 years and going strong. December will be 99, and then next December will be 100. So we're still alive and kicking here at WRJN.
Well, that is fantastic. And Don Rosen, who is the morning show host on our station there, he's just a fantastic, funny guy. He's plugged into the community, knows everything about, from the zoo to the assistant police chief to
the mayor.
The mayor, the director of Salmonorama. I mean, my family's from Racine, so I just, it's so great to see Radio Park full of people. And if you get the chance to stream WRJN on our free Civic Media app, go ahead and do so. You really like some of that music. It's local news and timeless hits, of course.
Yes.
So, Rich, in addition to being on the air now, you work in our sales department full time, and you do a great job. You handle a lot of different things. You also are a wrestling aficionado. And I will
That's
be the
right.
first to admit, I know absolutely nothing about wrestling. So,
Hey, Aaron, don't feel bad because when I did the first show with Pete, Pete knew nothing about wrestling either. So I'm kind of educating him, and Conrad's been on this ride with me as well, as far as like, okay, what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, the WWE, All Elite Wrestling, a lot of different promotions around the country, around the world. It's so much fun.
so tell us what's going on in the world of ring announcing. Do you do that? Do you get into the ring and grab the mic and kick off events? I mean, what are you up to? Give us a little update on your life.
So the last show I did was actually Black Friday in West Dallas, which is, if you're not familiar with the area, just outside of Milwaukee. And it was called the Black Friday Brawl. And the main event of the show was they can't officially call it the Royal Rumble because it's a trademark thing, but you have all these people coming in throughout the match. They start out with two. Every 45 seconds, somebody comes in. A person's eliminated when they're thrown over the top rope and both feet hit the floor. The last person standing is the winner of the match, and they got to challenge for any championship at any time in any place.
That just sounds like a massive production to put that all together into.
Yeah.
And
a
fans
lot
love
of
it,
different
right?
people, a lot of different people, a lot of different moving parts, a lot of coordination. I know people trying to, they're drawing the numbers in the back. Like, okay, I drew this number. Okay, this is your number. This is when you're coming out, and then it's havoc. It's so much fun.
What would we'll use me for an example because I know nothing about wrestling at all. I mean, my family, I guess my dad had the collectibles, and we watched the SmackDown on TV over the years.
Yeah.
What is the Wisconsin wrestling scene like? And how would you describe it to somebody who has no clue about wrestling, as little as I know?
It's, first of all, any kind of wrestling, independent wrestling, WWE, All Elite Wrestling. It's meant to evoke a reaction out of you. It's meant to make you cheer, make you boo, make you just enthralled by the athleticism of these people that are in the ring, doing their thing, entertaining the fans that are watching their craft, and they're getting better. They have the promo skills, you have the in-ring skills, you have just the pure athleticism. Like, these guys can do things that I only wish that I could do. And it's just so much fun to watch. And my deal is I get to introduce them to the ring. I want to make them look like the stars that they deserve to be.
Where would we go to find a good local wrestling match throughout Wisconsin? Anywhere.
I'm trying to think. I have to be careful because I don't want to be plugging different promotions here. But you can find a good restaurant. There's there's good restaurants. Elks Lodges are good places to go, and American Legion's a good place to go. If there's a big venue, I think about in Waukesha, they have the conventions. A convention center is a good place to go. I've been to the convention center in Waukesha, up in Oshkosh for different events. It's a lot of fun. Even county fairgrounds, they have wrestling shows every so often, especially during the warmer months.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of the athleticism alone is really impressive. Like you said, the skills, the athleticism, the production, there's a lot to it. It really sounds like I should probably get out there and watch a little wrestling.
Yeah, why
or be a part of an
not?
event
You
right
got
now
nothing to lose,
sometime.
right?
So you gave Pete a wrestling name. Is that correct? What was his name?
Yes, he was known as the Schwabinator.
The Schwab. How did you come up with that? Was that like a spur of the moment thing, or?
I think Conrad came up with that, or one of the listeners came up with that. But I have an idea, if I may. I think we need to retire the Schwabinator, and there's a reason for that.
Please explain. Does Pete know about this retirement, or
no? He does not. So when he comes back, he'll be thoroughly surprised. But the 2025 Royal Rumble just happened this past Saturday. The winner, his name is Jey Uso, and he's been in WWE now for about 15 years. Him and his twin brother Jimmy. He has gotten over so much with the fan base, with the kids, with everybody. And you see 70,000 people in unison with their arms just going up and down like this, and all at once, and it's just remarkable to see. So he has a catchphrase which is called Yeet, Y-E-E-T. So in honor of that, I think it's only fitting that Pete Schwaba's name in 2025 should be Yeet Schwaba.
We will. If Pete's listening, right? I hope he's not, because we're going to surprise that with him on Monday. We have to, right? Yeet Schwaba. That's
Yeet
fantastic.
Schwaba. He's going to ask, what does yeet mean? Which anybody outside the wrestling community would probably ask that question too. So the word's actually in Webster's dictionary now. It's gotten over that much.
Wow. So that's it's super official at this point. It's not just something fun to say.
Yeet.
Really, really love having you on, Rich. You're so much fun. You're insightful. You're great to be around in the office. Love working with you. I'm going to give you a challenge. Are you ready for this?
Ooh, okay. On a Friday? Oh, I got a little bit of energy left in the tank. Okay, so what do you got?
A little bit left for us? All right.
Yeah, what do you got?
I don't need you to do this right this second, but I need you to think about it. And you're going to have about 5 minutes to come up with an answer.
Okay.
You've got the next couple minutes here. When we go into break, you have to come back out of the break with the answer. I would like you to give me a wrestling name.
I knew that was coming.
And for the record, this has nothing to do. I will not hold it against you in any of our company meetings or anything else in the next week or so. If you give me this name, this is just between you and I and the rest of our listeners right now. But I want you to come up with a wrestling name, and you got a couple minutes to think about it. And I see your gears turning here.
Yes.
All right.
I'll have to give this some thought. Yes.
Does Conrad have a wrestling name?
No, Conrad, I don't think he has a wrestling name.
It's Con Cena.
Oh, God.
Con Cena. I do know enough about wrestling to know where that originates from, so there is that.
I just switched the J and the K. That's it.
Smart man.
If you're watching on StreamYard right now, I think Conrad's blushing, I think, with that nickname right now. I can see he's taking that nickname to heart right now.
Con Cena, yes.
Con Cena. Okay. All right. Well, we got
Conrad, the only thing you're missing now is a basketball jersey to match with the hat, because that was old school Cena back in the early 2000s.
I have a lot of thoughts about that.
I just
hat
go
he's
into a
wearing.
rap too.
Well, let's think of this name here. You've got a couple of minutes, Rich. We're talking with Rich Licasio, wrestling aficionado, pro wrestling aficionado. You're going to teach me a lot. You're going to teach our listeners a lot about wrestling today and on this show. We will come back with that name that you got a couple minutes to think about, Rich, okay?
All right.
Challenge is on. Phone lines are open as well at 855-752-4842. Stay with us. It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matt and Air on Air.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and I'm telling you, she doesn't want flowers, she wants plants. This is your new Wisco 411. I'm Amanda Nimmer, and I am strongly recommending that you sign yourself and your special someone up for a Heart Hoya Valentine's Day class at the Plant People on February 8th at 11 a.m. Why? Because flowers die, and as long as you try a little bit, plants don't. So what are you waiting for? Sign up. Go to WGBW.FM and click events to learn more.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. My savings tip for today is about meal planning. I know you've heard of it, but let's talk about it. Meal planning will save you money, it reduces impulse purchases, it helps you not waste food, and it may be the very best thing you can do to cut back on your weekly spending. It also helps cut back the number of arguments we have in my house about what's for dinner. A writer of a recent Reader's Digest article said that she saved herself $500 a month on meal planning. I mean, we all eat differently, but those are some real savings. I know, meal planning can be a pain. So I reward myself with a treat while I plan. A beer, some ice cream, maybe a recipe magazine. And in my house, the planner does not have to be the shopper. That's real motivation. For more everyday money tips, check out workmoney.org. Till next time, this is Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
Let's get back to live music in the Lair with Kaylin Colt. The next song you have for us tonight is called 1103.
Yes.
Is that a time or a flight number?
Oh, that's actually a really good. That's a good idea. I think I might have to write another song with that. You'll get 50%.
It's live in the Lair. Grab the podcast now at maxincradio.com and listen.
Get up home. I wanna drive them home. When you're feeling blue, think it's just a
Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I'm Aaron Carreno filling in for Pete tonight, live from Madison. Yeah, I'm here. This is my home. Conrad up in Green Bay, live from the City Deck at our WGBW studios. Try saying that 5 times fast. 855-752-4842 is our number. You can also text us through the Civic Media app. If you don't have our app yet, download it in the Google Play or App Store. We're talking with our guest tonight, Rich Locascio, about wrestling. We've got a couple questions for Rich, and I put you up to a challenge.
You did.
A couple minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what is my wrestling name? Does everybody have a name? Can we start with that for a second? Does everybody get a wrestling name or no?
No, not everybody needs a wrestling name. Sometimes it's just how you market yourself, how your branding is. So like I take John Cena, for example. Like, yes, at some time he did have a wrestling nickname, but he became a larger than life character with his real name, John Cena. So you can start with one, but you don't necessarily have to have one throughout the duration of your career.
And I'm about to have one for the duration of my career
Oh,
here at Civic
goodness.
Media. The drum roll, please. What is that wrestling name, Rich? What you got?
AC Voltage.
AC Voltage. I like it. Does that mean I'm electric?
Let's go with that. Yeah, we
Okay.
can go with that. Yeah.
Sounds like you're like, okay, man. Sure, whatever you say. AC Voltage.
I mean, who am I to disagree with you? No, I mean, go with it. Absolutely. It's what you make of it. If you want to take that and run with it, or if you want to bury it in the backyard and never speak of it again, I'm totally fine with either or.
I like AC Voltage. They used to call me AC Slater when I was younger.
From
and they
Saved
worked
by the Bell.
Yeah. Or they just call me Slater, and then that got kind of confusing. I might call myself that. People ask me tonight if I go out after this.
Yeah.
To say I'm AC Voltage. And if you want to know where that came from, you got to talk to my friend Rich Locascio.
Sure. There we
Period.
go.
All right. Couple questions for you, Rich.
All right.
John Cena's last year. What can we expect from him in the wrestling world?
Well, we've already seen something very remarkable. He was the runner-up in the Royal Rumble this past Saturday, and he was the odds-on favorite to win, even though he hasn't won a match in years, literally years, because he's been focused on acting, voicing commercials, being on TV, doing a lot of different things. This is going to be an interesting year, but I can tell you, and it's already been announced, March 1st at the WWE Elimination Chamber in Toronto, he will be one of the participants in that match. And he's going to vie for an opportunity at a World Championship match at WrestleMania.
And that's a big deal, right? I mean, that's
the biggest show of the year.
But especially with his final year, I can imagine that that's got to be the goal, right? To get to WrestleMania or no?
He's main evented WrestleMania a number of times already, but to finish out his career, because he said 2025, this is it. He has been doing this for 23 years. And the fact that he wants to end his career on a high note, and it doesn't necessarily have to end at WrestleMania, but in the year 2025, it is going to end in his way, on his terms. He's already a 16-time world champion. He's vying for number 17.
So we put John Cena up in the legends of wrestling. Who does he join historically of the legends of wrestling, so people can have a comparison of just how good this guy is?
He would join the likes of Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. And some of these guys have not held as many world championships as John Cena or Ric Flair have. However, just because of their popularity, they should be considered. Stone Cold Steve Austin would be another one. The Rock would be another one. You could even throw Roman Reigns into that conversation now because he held the title for so long. So Cody Rhodes could be considered in that at some point, maybe not just yet. But, I mean, John Cena definitely for the sport of professional wrestling has made his mark and definitely deserves to be considered with the top in the sport.
And we have a couple of minutes. What does John do next after wrestling?
Well, he's probably going to be doing more commercials. He's probably going to be doing more TV. He's probably going to be doing more movies, and more power to him. No, I've seen some of his movies. I've watched some of the shows that he's done on TV, some of the commercials that he's voiced, and he's very good at it. So he made a nice, natural transition, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Exciting stuff. Thank you for filling that in and teaching me a little bit. Teaching
Absolutely.
AC Voltage a little bit more about the wrestling world. Rich Lacasio, let's switch gears real quick. Our question of the night tonight was, are you going to be cheering for Kansas City or Philadelphia in the big game? Who you got?
I got Philadelphia, for sure. I'm an East Coast guy originally. I grew up in New Jersey, lived out there for 20 years before I moved to Wisconsin. I'd like to see my team that plays in the AFC from New York. They haven't been in a big game for over 50 years, but next closest thing would be for Philadelphia to take out Kansas City.
Oh, that team with that guy, number 8. Oh, yeah, that team. Okay.
Formerly number 12. I understand.
I know they don't probably have these in the along the East Coast. Have you had a pasty?
No, actually, I can't say that I have. Before I moved to Wisconsin, I didn't know what Kringle was. I figured that was associated with Christmas. I didn't know what a cheese curd was. I've had a very sheltered East Coast upbringing.
Well, we're going to have to bring those into the WRJN studios. Rich, I'll have one ready for you. We'll reheat it. We'll get one frozen, all right? Hey, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. We'll see you very soon. Coming up next, we are going to get to Rippyology. Scott Rippey joins us right here. It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hobart to Bay Settlement, 97.9 WGBW.
It is too common here, heart disease, and we're talking about it in the next New Wisco weekend. I'm Lisa Hale.
And I'm Terry Barr. It's also Heart Month. The health facts and tips you need to know.
Saturday mornings at 8, Sundays at 11 on WGBW and WISS. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Open that conversation with this person that you disagree with so much by trying to find the shared value, the thing that you both actually agree about. Challenge yourself to keep bringing it back to the value that we agree on and maybe even the outcome that we wish to see. Go have the tough conversation, because you know what gets better with practice? Those tough conversations.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us. This is 97.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Southeast of Nome, Alaska, searchers found the wreck of a Bering Air commuter airplane, a Cessna 208B, that had gone missing, 10 people aboard. The searchers say 3 bodies have been found inside what's left of the aircraft. Assistant Commander Ben McIntyre Coble not saying if the weather was a factor.
It's February in Alaska, and the weather has not been fantastic.
A federal judge in Washington, D.C. temporarily blocked the Trump administration plan to place 2,200 employees at the Agency for International Development on paid leave. 2 federal workers associations say Trump doesn't have the authority for his swift dismantling of the agency. The president hitting social media to fire Kennedy Center Chairman David Rubenstein and other members of the center's board. He claims they don't share his vision of a golden age in arts and culture. This is ABC News.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave, Monday through Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. For more information, go to appletoncigar.com.
Hey, it's John Mino and Jim Schmidt from Mino and the Mayor. Want to stay in the loop with all things Northeast Wisconsin? Sign up for the WGBW weekly newsletter.
Get the latest local stories, updates on the weather, and a special feature from our Mino and the Mayor podcast.
It's your one-stop shop for real news and great conversation in Northeast Wisconsin.
Log on to WGBW.FM today and get signed up.
Real news, great conversation. Sign up today at WGBW.FM/newsletter.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Some Head Start programs in the state of Wisconsin have gone 2 weeks without their federal funding. This follows a memo from the Trump administration temporarily pausing federal grants, loans, and financial assistance programs. Senator Tammy Baldwin issued a letter to the Trump administration this week requesting immediate attention to resolve outstanding issues for Head Start payment systems. Head Start programs provide child care and education for low-income families. In 2022, more than 10,000 children were enrolled in Head Start programs throughout Wisconsin. License plate aficionados have a new one to start learning. Stuart J. Waddles has this story.
A new specialty license plate supporting the Wisconsin County Forest Association is now available from the DMV. The plate costs $15 plus a $25 tax-deductible donation. It helps fund the organization's work. With the addition, Wisconsin drivers can now choose from more than 60 specialty plates. The most popular is the all-black plate for Road America.
In a related story, Wisconsin has run out of license plates that start with the letter A after 7 years.
The Bucks in Atlanta. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks play the Atlanta Hawks tonight at the State Farm Arena. Some new faces on the team, including Kyle Kuzma and center Jericho Sims, after those trades made before the deadline. Gone after 12 years with the Bucks is Chris Middleton, center Brooke Lopez.
I'm thankful that I got to know him as the man that he is. I got to know his whole family, his wife and kids. I always love them. They'll always be special to me. I'm obviously going to miss him. It's going to be a huge adjustment, and I wish him nothing but the best.
NFL Super Bowl 59 coming up this Sunday in New Orleans. Even though he's played in 5 Super Bowls in the last 6 years, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he still gets a little nervous before the kickoff.
You're going to have nerves before the game, just like any big game. I think if you don't have nerves, you don't love the game enough. I have a better feel for how the week goes, and so I know when the media is, I know when practice is. I have a good plan for the week, and I think that's helped me on being more settled throughout the week.
That's the Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news roundup in quick podcast form. You can find it anywhere at the WGBW website, WGBW.FM.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Winter weather advisory for 4 to 7 inches of snow starting late tonight and continuing on into Saturday afternoon. Low tonight in the upper teens. High tomorrow, mid-20s. Sunday is looking mostly sunny. Highs only 15 to 20. Right now it's 22.
Mino and the Mayor.
Well, I think everybody's been there because he was sitting there for the longest time. So I just gave him a little beep, and it was green.
Yeah.
I could see he was vaping. It was meant on his vaping thing. And then all of a sudden, he rolls his window and gives me the bird. So I'm trying to get his attention so he can see that I'm giving him the finger too, but I couldn't get my window down.
And you wanted to make sure he could see it.
I was waving to him like, hey, hey. Yeah, exactly.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday morning 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW and 98.3 and 96.5 WISS and the Civic Media app.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself, surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Maggie Dawn.
Do you know that Donald Trump's draconian policies are hurting children right here in Wisconsin? Dane County's Head Start program experiences
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who prefers to travel by catapult, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back to Night Lights with Pete Schwaba. I'm not Pete. My name is Aaron Carreno, and I am filling in for Pete. So excited to be here tonight. Really great way to kick off the weekend. We've had a big first hour. We got a bigger second hour even ahead. Phone lines are open at 855-752-4842. That's 855-752-4842. And you can always text us right now through the Civic Media app. It's our free app. Download it in the Google Play or App Store, and you can let me know who you're rooting for. Who you got? You got the Puppy Bowl? You got Kansas City? A Swiftie? Cheering for Philadelphia? Or are you there? Are you the person who shows up to the party, doesn't bring anything because you're late, and you eat all the food that everybody else brought to the party? Does that sound familiar? Am I referring to something maybe I did in the past? Anyway, not gonna. Conrad, you're laughing. Producer Conrad in Green Bay. I'm here in Madison. I was invited to a couple of parties. And I will just flat out say I have been that guy who has casually showed up after the party started and just kind of slid in and enjoyed all the food and the beverage that was there.
Yeah, I'm the type of guy that just brings chips. So I can say I brought something.
You can't do that. You can't just bring chips.
No dip at all. Just chips. I'm be like, hey, I brought some extra. I know you were making buffalo chicken. Here's this. Now I'm going to eat all your buffalo chicken dip with my chips.
You're making McChickens, according to what you told us the first hour. Homemade McChickens.
That's true.
I didn't know that was a thing. I was at a party once on the east side of Green Bay. The east side of Milwaukee. This is actually a couple months ago, and I really didn't know what to bring, so I went to Pick and Save and bought one of those big veggie trays. I didn't realize how expensive a veggie tray is.
Oh yeah,
they're expensive.
So are the fruit trays as well,
right? People are all up in arms about eggs. Try buying one of those veggie trays. They're expensive. And I thought I was doing pretty good, right? Because everybody was bringing some homemade food. I brought the veggie tray, and hours later, as people are leaving the party, the tray was still there with the lid. It hadn't even been opened, and the veggies were sitting out there warm for like 4 or 5 hours. I was like, why did I even buy that?
You didn't get the correct dip with it. They just didn't like the dip.
Well, the dip was in the tray, and you had to peel back the wrapper, and everything was self-contained. That's why I don't bring anything. I'll just bring my humor and my presence as a good friend, contributing to the party. Anyway, enough about that. We've got a busy weekend. We're talking the big game. We're talking past it. We talked a little bit about everything, but we also have to talk about this weather. This wild weather that we had yesterday and that we're going to have tomorrow. My friend and social media weather influencer Scott Rippey of Rippyology, joining Nightlight tonight. Scott, how you doing in Mount Horeb? What's going on?
Dude, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Really can't complain.
I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, if like I will not be able to sleep tonight unless I have a wrestling name.
We got to get Rich back on and give.
Yeah.
Well, knowing you, as long as we've known each other, I would encourage Rich to really think of that PG-13 or R-rated probably wrestling name, but we probably can't say that on the air, so
Yeah,
you deserve a good name.
Let's just go all the way NC-17 on this.
Okay. That's fair. That's fine. And by the way, NC-17 or whatever rating you want to call it, when people go to your Facebook page, Rippyology, everything's on the table, right? I mean, there's no censoring necessarily. Talk to us a little bit about how Rippyology came to be, what people can expect when they go to your Facebook page, and really what got you interested in weather.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's start with the first premise, right? I mean, you know, if my page on Facebook was a radio station, it would definitely have a 7-second delay. There's a little bit of adult humor there. I got into weather. I mean, when I was in kindergarten, and I just turned into a weather geek when my grandmother bought me a weather book, and like just sort of studied weather, kind of self-study sort of thing throughout my entire life. So now I've turned that passion into this community that we have on Facebook right now, and having the time of my life.
And so you've always followed weather. You and I were together. Where were we when this came up? I think we were drinking something. I don't know, because that sounds much like our friendship. And you said, I think I'm going to start a Facebook page. You think I should do that? That paid off.
I think it was you actually that said you're going to start a Facebook page. We were in Key West 6 years ago next week. We were by the pool. I think you were trying to navigate some travel issues getting back home because you were flying like Bob's dog food store, liquor shop, and airline. Whatever. And so you were trying to get home, and there were delays in your flight. We were sitting by the pool, and I had posted something about a week earlier. There was a big polar vortex that was going through Wisconsin. Wind chills were like 60 below, and I posted something that went viral. And you're like, dude, you got to start a fan page. I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. And you like popped over into my laptop, and you're like, boop, 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 boop. Okay, here's how you do it. So that's how it all started. It was, I think it was 6 years ago next Thursday that,
wow.
You had a lot to do with that.
Well, and this is what you do full time now, right? I mean, you are doing this from the beginning of the day to the end of the night. You get people from this isn't just a Wisconsin page, correct?
No, I mean, it is a little focused on Wisconsin, but we've got followers from 17 different countries, and in states all around the Midwest. So, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. About 40,000 people that have sort of become a community. It's not just me, like, sort of barfing up weather forecasts. It really is a community that talks to each other, and we have fun. There's a lot of humor.
Yeah, you definitely know how to have fun. I mean, just on the page alone. We're talking with Scott Rippey, the social media influencer, weather influencer of the page Rippyology. And just to give everybody a preview of the little, like how you describe your page: humor and snark, prone to adult language, 3-time Best of Madison winner, Bloody Mary aficionado, recipe dabbler, somewhat opinionated, cat daddy, potentially gay. And I just think that summarizes the page the absolute best possible way. All of that.
Yeah. I think the words somewhat and potentially are doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Speaking of heavy lifting, it's not just the humor and the weather. You have interns even. It looks like 6 hours ago you posted a picture of your intern or interns, and they look like they're the happiest employees you've ever hired.
Yeah, my interns are my two cats, Cole and Sky, who are pretty much with me every minute of every day. I mean, Ripology is a 24/7 adventure. It's not an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday sort of thing for me. But I've always got the cats with me, and we have a bunch of sort of cat people in the neighborhood in the Ripology community. So they like seeing the pictures, and I post those every once in a while. Cole and Sky are my interns. They're lazy as you know what, but but they help me get through the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, this has got to be a lot of fun, right? Interacting with followers, and I'm imagining you get a lot of messages about weather and specific forecasts. I mean, I recall I was in the Denver airport flying back to Madison, and I was overhearing a conversation at the gate. They were inquiring about what the weather was going to be. I think it was possible snow or something along those lines. The woman had no idea that I'm really, really good friends with you. And she said, well, let me check to see what Ripology says. And I remember texting you that from the Denver airport. And you said, get their address. I'm going to give them a mug.
Yeah. It really is. It's fun to be able to. I mean, I've got a up on my computer right now. I've got a 10-page document of all of my followers' travel plans. Because for all the fun that we have on Ripology, job number one when it comes to weather is keeping people safe. Keeping people, making sure that they're not ending up in a ditch somewhere, or getting stuck in an airport, sleeping overnight, and things like that. So one of the things that that we do at Ripology is really try to help people with their travel plans. I remember, Aaron, you and I having a laughing fit over your trip back from Erie, Pennsylvania, when you were stuck in some really bad lake effect snow and decided to hop in a car because we had tickets to the Packer game.
I remember you walked me through that step by step like an absolute pro, and also curbed my anxiety. And for that, I appreciate you. Scott, hang on 1 second. Stay with us because I got a couple weather questions for you, and then we're gonna get into a couple other things, especially a big event I know you're excited about, as I am, on Sunday. Back with Scott Rippey from Ripology. Stay with us. More to come with Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
.9 WGBW and WGBW.FM.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Donald Trump is president again, and Democrats need to take a new approach to combat this presidency. Part of that is recognizing the realignment of how we arrived here. In last year's election, one thing Trump did successfully was turn out people who might not otherwise vote. In Wisconsin, he increased his vote share in all 72 counties en route to the largest popular vote total in state history. How did he do this? Well, as I see it, there are two factions of Republicans. One is the more traditional country club Republicans. The other is the newer group, what I'm calling the pro-wrestling Republicans. In my latest column, I wrote about how Donald Trump transformed the party by prioritizing the pro-wrestling Republicans, and why recognizing this new reality is critical to Democrats' ability to grab a steel chair of their own and fight back. Subscribe and read it now at the Recombobulation Area.
What's your go-to when the cold winds of winter blow? A heavy coat? A hat? For many of us, it's lip stuff too. But did you know one of the most popular brands, Carmex, the one in the little yellow tube or tub, is a Wisconsin product? It's made in Franklin, a suburb of Milwaukee, and it's shipped to more than 60 countries every year. So can you guess the original use for Carmex? Fixing squeaky doors, actual lip balm, or to soften baseball gloves? The answer coming up. Alfred Woolwing created Carmex in the kitchen of his Dodge County home in Rubicon in 1937. He hand-poured thousands of jars until deciding to automate the manufacturing process in the 70s. Now, can you guess the original use for Carmex when it was created more than 80 years ago? It's always been meant to be a lip balm, but people use it on other dry or itchy skin areas too. It remains a true
Welcome back to Nightlight. Phone lines are open at 855-752-4842. Thank you for spending your Friday night with us as we kick off another great weekend. My name is Aaron Carreno. I'm filling in for Pete. Hopefully Pete is back and ready to go again on Monday night. Very grateful to be here today, and we're on the phone right now with my friend Scott Rippey, the weather blog. I'm not even call you blogger. You're a social media influencer. You have the page Rippyology. You keep people safe. I think that's a really great point that you made prior to the break. That is ultimately the most important thing, is keeping people safe. And you have a lot of fun doing it at the same time, as we've already heard in this last segment. Scott, you have a way with words.
Uh-oh. Well, I mean, I think that, one of the things that I can do at Rippyology that your local TV meteorologist can't do, right, is just be really frank and eye level. So I can communicate in ways that that don't just talk about the weather, but talk about the way that weather might impact you. The way that you might want to prepare, things that you might want to do to your car, and you want to fill up with. I mean, the TV meteorologists have on average about 2 minutes and 20 seconds every newscast. We can get into a little bit more detail on Rippyology, talk about, and we do this a lot, actually. So somebody will message me or text me and say, all right, I'm driving from A to B, and I'm planning on taking this route. And I'm like, okay, so based on the storm that's incoming, I want you to take this route instead. Because I know the crews that are going to be out in certain counties, pre-treating roads and things like that. And that's all part of my job. My job is to know that, so that you don't have to know that. So getting people from point A to point B is super important. And then, as I said, I think the other thing that's really important is just to talk to people in ways that they understand, instead of what they get on, let's say their weather app. I mean, Aaron, how many weather apps do you think you have on your phone?
I think I probably have two, and I want to say what your acronym is for those weather apps, but I can't say that on the air. You'll have to go to your page to see that. But I think I got, what, two or three?
Well,
a couple of them?
We can say the acronym. It's SWA, And the WA is weather app, and we'll just let people use their imagination for what the S stands for. But those weather apps that you have on your phone, there's not a single human being that is involved in those forecasts. That's all data that comes in from NOAA and from the National Weather Service. I know some of the other shows on the civic stations have been talking about this. Have been talking about perhaps some of the potential threats to funding for NOAA, and all of that data that comes into your weather app is coming from NOAA. Not a single human being touches your forecast on those apps. So that's where I'm trying to fill that void to make weather forecasting a real customized and personal solution for you.
You bring the personality to weather, and I will also say TV meteorologists right now are going through pretty stressful times, especially several meteorologists in this state, and I won't get into the specifics of that for time, but you are also just as supportive of those people. I think the weather community as a whole bands together, and you do a really good job of bringing everybody together, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate you saying that, Aaron, because there have been a lot of meteorologists that have been under attack in sort of in the name of media consolidation. One particular media group that thinks that they can just throw everything out of Atlanta from the Weather Channel and handle their weather from there, but the Weather Channel's not going to cut in when there's a tornado that is literally a mile away from you. So it's, again, if we start with the premise that job one is safety and job two is communicating with people in ways that they can react to, in ways that they can understand, the meteorology community is under attack. It's not good right now.
We're talking with Scott Rippey, the weather influencer. Facebook page is Rippeyology, 3-time Best of Madison winner, one of my best friends. And really quick, Scott, we only have about a minute and a half or so. Did Jimmy the Groundhog from Sun Prairie lie last weekend when he said spring was coming up sooner this year? Because there's a weather event happening throughout Wisconsin tomorrow. Quickly give the cliff notes. What can we expect tomorrow? And let's start all the way up Ashland, all the way south to Beloit.
Yeah, so I mean, up north, Hayward, Ashland, Green Bay, Wausau, that sort of corridor is probably going to get the most snow tomorrow. The recent weather models are going a little bit drier, a little bit farther north. It's not going to be a huge weather event. I mean, we're talking probably 4 inches, maybe 5 inches max in northern Wisconsin. But we are in a weather pattern right now that is really conducive to multiple winter storms. So I know a lot of people have said, "Oh my God, winter is a bust." It's not. We have a good 8 weeks of winter left, and we're in a favorable pattern for winter storms. So, if you are a snow lover, if you're a snowmobiler, do not lose hope yet.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. Rippeyology is the page. We'll find out more about your forecast there. Thank you for joining us tonight on Night Lights, and we'll catch you online, all right?
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. More next with Terry Barr. This is Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Unity. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Wisconsin Supreme Court unanimously ruled today that the state's chief election official, Megan Wolf, can stay in her job, even though her term has expired, heading off a years-long effort by some Republicans who control the state Senate to oust her. The Wisconsin Elections Commission sued to keep Wolf on the job. Wolf was targeted for removal by Republicans who were unhappy with the 2020 presidential election. This ruling means Wolf can stay in her position and not face a confirmation vote by the Senate. With the snow we're on tap to receive this weekend, it's important to note that an alarming number of heart attacks are linked to shoveling snow, and the risks increase with age. Meteorologist Brittany Merlot explains.
With the combination of cold temperatures and sudden physical exertion, a problem is created. The cold temperatures constrict blood vessels, making it harder for the blood to flow efficiently. So when you pair this with the physical strain of lifting heavy snow, this increases blood pressure and heart rate, forcing the heart to work much harder. And for someone with underlying heart disease or risk factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, or obesity, this sudden exertion can trigger a heart attack. So people should pace themselves and take regular breaks, probably every 10 to 15 minutes. And using a smaller shovel will help to limit the weight of each load. And if you can, push the snow rather than lifting and tossing it. That'll help reduce strain on the heart.
A 34-year-old man has been charged with the stabbing death of a Green Bay man. James Dorr is charged with first-degree intentional homicide and mistreatment of an animal causing death for the January 28th murder of his addiction sponsor and the sponsor's pet poodle. The victim was stabbed 27 times. Dorr is being held on a $2 million bond. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Conrad Krieger. Top Gun fans are hoping for a third film, but actor Miles Teller told Stephen Colbert he has not heard any updates. The Top Gun 2 actor who plays Rooster in the film did tell the talk show host that he has made one demand of the film star's Tom Cruise. If there is a third film, Teller wants some warning, so he has time to get in shape. Ideally, 1 month per ab, so a total of 6 months. Rumors that the third film is in development have not been confirmed. Demi Moore is nominated for a Best Actress for her role in The Substance, an impressive achievement for someone who was labeled a popcorn actress years ago by producer. Moore talked about her Golden Globe acceptance speech on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, where she mentioned the producer's prediction. Kimmel asked her if she thought the producer, who has since passed away, heard her speech. Moore said, "He's probably rolling over in his grave. Revenge is a dish best served when the other person is still alive, but I'm sure it still feels good." For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Winter weather advisory for 4 to 7 inches of snow starting late tonight and continuing on into Saturday afternoon. Low tonight in the upper teens. High tomorrow, mid-20s. Sunday is looking mostly sunny. Highs only 15 to 20. Currently 21 degrees.
Mino and the Mayor.
You know, you're sore when you start working out after you haven't been working. Okay, so no big deal.
Did you stretch before you worked out?
Yeah, big time.
You did not. Yeah, see, that's okay. You stretch before and after. And really, your stretch before and after should equal the time you work out.
Okay, hey, Dad.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday morning 6 till 9 on 97.9 WGBW and 98.3 and 96.5 WISS and the Civic Media app.
Carmelo Anthony for the Bail Project.
Bad news, you've been arrested. Good news, you're innocent until proven guilty. If you can pay your bail, good news, you go home to wait your trial. If you can't, sorry, you go to jail to wait. But sure, you still presumed innocent. But since you can't afford bail, you've lost your freedom. That's not right. And that's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Monday's show, Joel Klicka, the creator of Outdoor Movies.
Time to check out original music with Bar Band Friday on Nightlight. Now, your host, Pete Schwaba, and special guest, Terry Barr.
Welcome back to Night Lights. Filling in for Pete Schwaba, I am Aaron Carreno, and really, thank you, Pete. Hey, Pete, thank you for having me on. Appreciate that. Pete does a great job. Love the show. Conrad, thank you for all your work tonight. Except that hat. I just don't know about that hat you're wearing.
If you want to know the story, I when I first started watching basketball, I watched one player, and his name was Kevin Durant, and I fell in love with basketball watching him. So I kind of follow him around where he goes.
All right, that's fair. I mean, I'm the guy wearing the Kansas City shirt because it's kind of misleading. You're like, who is this guy filling in for Pete? That dude. I'm actually a Green Bay fan, but if I had to choose for this weekend, it is going to be Kansas City. I do want to see the three-peat. That is our question of the night. Who are you cheering for, Kansas City or Philadelphia? And I should probably ask Terry Barr that question because I know she's a sports fan. She joins us for Bar Band Friday nights. And Terry, it's great to have you back on. We're talking music here in a minute, but let's get right to this point. Who do you got?
For this weekend, I think I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm really disappointed about Eagles fans in the way they treat other fans. I know that has nothing to do with the actual football team, but that's where I'm at.
Look, we've had a couple text messages coming in that also double down on what you just said. So there is some credit to that.
Mm-hmm.
You can text us, by the way, through the Civic Media app. Open up the app, find your station, use the text button at the bottom of your screen. Who do you want to win the big game? Well, there's a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah, I hear we could be cheering for AC Voltage soon, too.
Shout out to Rich Locasio for giving me that nickname. I don't know how he comes up with that, honestly.
It was really good, and I kind of like it. I think it's going to stick.
Did he ever give you a nickname?
No, I haven't been on a same segment with him, so I've avoided any wrestling names, at least to right now.
And what's Conrad's again? What did you say yours was?
It's Con Cena.
Con Cena.
Ooh.
See, but that's like legit.
Yeah, that's
AC
good.
Voltage is like some guy who, tries to entertain people on a street corner, I guess, on a Friday night in Madison. I don't know.
I can almost picture what you'll be wearing as that character.
Yeah. Halloween 2025.
Oh, dear.
Terry Barr, and you are all things music. You do a lot for us here, and you have a preview of what's happening in the music world. Max Inc. Radio tomorrow night at 6 o'clock across the Civic Media Radio Network. Tell us about some of these bands. Let's start with. Are we starting with Rob D's, right?
Yeah, let's start with Rob D's. I'm expecting just a great conversation with him. This guy is a Madison-based hip-hop artist, but he's also an activist, he's an educator, and he works with kids from all around the state who may be in trouble or they were kicked out of school for something they did. And since he is an educator and a hip-hop artist, he kind of twists that and he tries to teach the kids about telling their stories, using their stories in music instead of just kind of sitting on those stories and, woe is me. He just believes if they can find power in their own stories, that down the road they can be okay. And of course, he really pushes them to do that. And it's so great because I am also going to ask him about Black History Month. With him as an activist, he believes in the month itself, but he's also one of those guys that says, I need to incorporate pieces of my history every single day of the year. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more of what he has to say about that.
Yeah, I can imagine. And more than ever now, especially, right? I mean, Black History Month is so important. And I'm glad that he's able to intertwine that into his music. And do we have a little sample? Do we have some of that music ready to go that we can here right now? A preview
We
before
do, and
tomorrow
in
night?
fact, it is, Aaron, a brand new song from Rob Dees. This is a rarity. He is so busy these days with all of the other projects he's involved in, and of course, he's traveling to try to help all the kids. But he was inspired, you'll like this, inspired to write this song again from stories. But he said, I needed to get my words out there about being patient and having grace during these challenging times around all of us. So he calls it composure.
Good stuff. Conrad, you want to cue it up?
Ain't no time to walk with my head down. Part of being a man with skin that's brown. Had that to being a man about town, and it all come out in the soul of the sound now. Speaking of which, this is why I spit. Express sentiment a lot of cats don't get. Bred in the era on some peppy they pew. That mean I put some stank on it now whatever we do. So, smell like that, this progression rap. Raise to move forward, ain't no time to look back. On some let me live so I can get at that. Cause I'm a blue collar baby, earn my teacup cat. Some tend to not like me cause I speak in facts. Robbie St. Luke cause I was speaking acts. Walking my beneath these words of my debris. How to keep composure through all of this grief. Cause some throw jazz for us to fall off. Like they the only spot for us to ball off. Work our own visions, make sure they saw off. Drew Holiday, point plays I call off. This is for those suffer polarizations. Talk my soul smack on these hit quotations. For the real, we the people type situations. Must have seen faith for all the trailblazers.
Don't come up and times we fail, and in the joy and times we have now. You just spread your wings and sail, and you just keep your composure, babe. Your composure.
Time to get composure up over my demons. Seeing that's the only way to bust through the glass ceilings. Can't trip now, these days are so revealing. Keep calm and now I tap in my deeper feelings. Things fall apart, man, now I get it. But I know my black excellence is often expected. Stay cool even when inside it's so hectic. Composure is a mantra, small stuff, I don't sweat it. All in for the all us, now I bet it. And come up short, there's no way that I can let it. Level her decisions with no time to trip. Put my soul on the line, word of Morris has left. It's funny, man, I used to crave the attention. Now I just crave people get my intentions. No matter the hurt which I've been exposed, it's gonna get better, man, stay composed.
Don't come up and times we fail, and in the joy and times we have now. You just spread your wings and sail, and you just keep your composure, babe. Your composure.
It seemed like we all going through it. Cooler heads prevail, composers how to do it. We all got demons and we skew how folks view it. Shape up a story no one coulda knew it. Last name Franklin, but I ain't no saint. Made my words snowfall when they said you can't. Being black and white, Wisconsin require restraint. And I go for what I know, shoot, think I ain't. But settling for less, not part of my debate. It's cause I'm moving love in a world full of hate. You ain't felt the pain, then I know you can't relate. And you be just talking and I'll be like, I'm straight. Funny how folks put they care about you. Be the loudest ones popping how they got you. Never saw a part and that's the part that hurt. Keep my composure while they scream out merch. The circle grew to the point I had to cut it down. Motives different than mine, then I gotta shut it down. Whisper where they go, I just go when I hear it. I ain't saying folks wrong, I'm just going with the spirit.
Don't come up and times we fail, in the joy and times we have. You just spread your wings and sail, and you just keep your composure, babe. Your composure.
We had a few lounges, I think, around here, Terry, that we could probably put that song on, just kind of relax, or
Yeah.
sink into the couch at home,
I
like
saw you grooving. Oh,
I
yeah.
feel that, right?
Yeah. We turned
I
it into a Friday night dance party,
yeah.
too.
Well, and nobody's in here, so they can't see me, which is even better. But I love that he helps students create hip hop projects in different areas of learning. I think that's just so important. And as a
Yeah.
musician, I mean, he's performed with some pretty famous and very talented people. Nas, Eminem, Common.
I know.
That is
It's
just
pretty
incredible.
it's incredible. He is also in the Smithsonian because of the work he's done. He did an interview, and the people from the Smithsonian Library of Congress liked it so much, they have put it in their historical, library. You can go there and listen to Rob Dees from Wisconsin tell the story of Wisconsin Black history and hip hop.
That is really, really awesome. That
Yeah,
that
he's a
is really,
great
really
guy.
cool. Thank you very much for sharing that. Wow. Talking with Terry Barr. It's Bar Band Friday. Terry, one of the hosts of Max Inc. Radio, every Saturday night live show here on the Civic Media Radio Network starting at 6 o'clock. And Terry, for somebody that hasn't listened to Max Inc. before, you hear a lot on this network. You hear some politics. You have some fun at night after 6. You get a little bit of everything. But Max Inc. is really all about local music and connecting those
is.
artists to the rest of Wisconsin and beyond, for that matter.
I think I've really found out by doing this with Pete every Friday, and every Friday, Pete will say to me, "Are you kidding me? More amazing bands from Wisconsin." And I love that I can sort of surprise him in that way with new bands that he has never heard, and every time he goes, "That's my new favorite." But then there's another one the next week. I think we are just so lucky, not just in Madison and Milwaukee, Eau Claire, but I think the music scene is really growing all around the state. And by music, I mean original, locally made, Wisconsin made music.
Yeah, even in Green Bay too, right? I was up
Yeah,
visiting the
yes.
team up there, and Mino and the mayor had on a couple of artists the last couple of times I've been there, and they're just people are utilizing local radio as an opportunity to also get their music out there. And I think Max Inc. does a really incredible job. You and Jimmy and Rocker just getting that show together and introducing people to all sorts of new music from around the state. And if you're listening right now and you're like, well, I've got live music, maybe they could reach out to you and share your stuff with Terry. You listen to
Please
everything, right?
do. Yeah, they can email us. Super simple. Music at Civic Media, sorry, music, let me try that again, at civicmedia.us. That easy.
Music at civicmedia.us. Perfect. That is
Mhm.
fantastic. Now, we have a little bit more to
Yes.
share with everybody before we get to the end of the show. Give us a little preview of the group, The Flavor That Kills. Tell us more about
Yeah.
them.
Well, what I find interesting about them, they're out with their 4th album now. The first 3 they described as retro. And then they decided to say, "Forget about it. We're just gonna do whatever we feel like, whatever hits us, not trying to be like the '70s anymore." And so now they say it's a little bit more like a four-way stop sign where no one stops. So they've got this new album out. It's the song that we have from it is called American Dream. They are also going to be playing the Happy Hour of Love next Friday. It's also sponsored by WMDX along with Max Inc. Radio. And if you're in the Madison area, it's going to be happening at 5 o'clock. Everybody likes early shows now at the Gamma Ray Bar. That's downtown Madison. But we're going to, put out all the information all next week. So hopefully people can come and join us.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to see some great live music there because that venue, the Gamma Ray, if you haven't
Yeah.
been, I remembered it as it used to be the Frequency.
Yep.
And this place is just so cool. It is steps off the Capitol. You got to check it out. We're going to play a little bit from them, The Flavor That Kills, in just a few moments. Stay with us. We're talking with Terry Barr, host of Max Inc. Radio, Bar Band Friday nights. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network. Stay with us.
I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you.
Maybe it's 6:45. Maybe I'm barely alive. Maybe you're taking my shit for the last time. Yeah. Maybe I know that I'm drunk. Maybe I know you're the one. Maybe I'm thinking it's better if you drive. Oh, 'cause girls like you run around with guys.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
You and I both know that this entire week, everyone's going to be thinking about love. But what we really should be thinking about is love with our friends. No, I'm not talking about leaving the friend zone, and honestly, I can't help you with that. But what I can help with is telling you about Galentine's Day at the Children's Museum of Green Bay. That's right, it's a new Wisco 411, and on February 13th from 6 till 8 p.m., you can celebrate self-love and friendship with wine, snacks, and crafts. Pre-registration is required, so go to WGBW.fm, click events, and find out how.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Keeping you connected to your local community with real news and great conversation. Here's Terry Barr with the Civic Media Radio Network.
If you've never stayed overnight on a dairy farm, would you consider it? The Wisconsin Agricultural Tourism Association hopes you will and is working to position the state as the nation's agricultural tourism destination.
How can we grow agricultural tourism in the state of Wisconsin? Because all of our neighbors are embracing this and they're supporting agricultural tourism because they know it's an economic engine and it makes a huge impact for every taxpayer in our state.
Sheila Everhart is with the association and says from gathering eggs to corn mazes, ag tourism is on the rise. And overnight farm visits kick off as part of the NFL Draft in Green Bay. Want to learn more, volunteer, or try your own egg trip? Go to W.
Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Phone lines are open, 855-752-4842. I am Aaron Carreno, filling in for Pete tonight. Of course, you can always text us through the Civic Media app. Our question of the night, who do you got winning the big game? Is it going to be Kansas City or is it going to be Philadelphia? And we've got a lot of texts coming in on the text line tonight. Looks like Steady Eddie, he's got Chiefs. He's got Kansas City. He's got the team that I'm cheering for, that Terry Barr, thank you. We're the minority here and cheering for them.
Oh.
You know, it is what it is, right? By the way, today, Terry, is also National Gumball Day. Bubblegum Day. Bubblegum Day.
Okay.
And do you remember when you would go into the bars or the music venues and they'd have the little candy machines, you put in the quarter and you twist it? Are we still able to eat that? Is that still okay to consume those?
If it's been in there for years and years.
Will we break our teeth? Like,
ooh.
Maybe not.
I like Bazooka. Remember the cartoon? But I don't think I ever actually chewed the gum.
Did Bazooka have the comic strips with him?
Yes, yeah.
Am I
The
old enough to
cartoon
remember
was
that?
fun.
All right.
Yep.
That's right. It's Bar Band Friday here on Nightlight, and we got through a great artist, Rob Dees, and we're talking now about the flavor that kills. Remind us again, they're going to be performing at Gamma Ray Bar. Gamma Ray Bar, is it? Is it called Gamma Ray Bar? I forget the name of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Great music venue, an intimate music venue right off the Capitol Square here in Madison. When is that show again?
It is the Happy Hour of Love on February 14th, and it starts at 5 o'clock. Get you home by probably 7:30.
My kind of night these days, Terry.
I know.
My kind of night these days. Let's play a little bit from them. Sound like a plan? All right, let's do it. What's the song again?
American Dream.
American Dream. Here we go. Flavor that kills. American Dream. Terry, that is fantastic. Can't wait to see them at Gamma Ray. And thank you. You'll have more on them tomorrow night on Max Inc.
Yeah, they'll be in studio to talk all about the show coming up.
Awesome. 6 o'clock tomorrow night, Max Inc. Radio, Terry Barr. Always appreciate having you here. Bar Band Fridays with Nightlight. You have a wonderful weekend, okay?
Everybody, too. Have a great weekend.
Go, KC. All right. Thank you, Terry. We appreciate you. And that pretty much wraps it up for us tonight. Wow, that went fast, Conrad. It's fast to fill in here.
It really did. It really did.
Wow. What's next? Getting your McChickens ready for the weekend? Your homemade McChickens?
I am prepping them. I am prepping them tonight.
And we kind of covered it all tonight. We had music. We talked foul weather. We had our pasty conversations and the big game. So lots to look forward to. Hopefully Pete is back and healthy next week. Tuesday, he has on Madison film critic Rob Thomas. Wednesday, actor Glenn Morshower from Black Hawk Down, 24 Bloodline. In musical act 7,000 Apart performs live from Sweden via StreamYard.
Yep, they will be in Sweden, so it's about 11 so it'll be late for them. But not for us.
All right. And then Thursday, John McGivern, great guy, host of Main Streets on PBS. So funny. Such a good dude at the Popcorn Pick of the Week. Conrad, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for having me here, Pete. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba across the Civic Media Radio Network. Have a wonderful weekend.
Some